Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Momentum Monday call. We've been doing these weekly for a significant amount of time now. For those of you who might be new to the call, my name is Michelle Ball. I'm a 100 Club National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company up here in Canada. And I love doing these calls on Monday because it is the perfect time of the week to get a shot of inspiration. There are many of us that are working in jobs that we might not necessarily love, and Mondays are a challenging day where we've had to leave our family and leave those weekend vibes behind. And so we're here to remind you that there might be another way for you. It's not for everybody, but it certainly has been a huge benefit in my life. For those of you who don't know my story, just very briefly, I accidentally found this business through the product. It had made such a big difference to me that I decided I was going to share it with some other people. I joined the business just simply for a discount. And once I caught the vision, I put my work ethic that I gained from growing up on a farm to good work. And within 3.5 years, I was able to make it to 100 Club National Marketing Director. And that at that level, I'm a strong 6-figure earner. And what that means for my family is that I get to have complete freedom to match their time schedules, whether that be hockey or activities or school. I get to volunteer in the classroom, get to go on other field trips, which is amazing. My kids are now 7 and 9, so I'm a blended family. I have 2 7-year-olds and 2 almost 9-year-olds. So it can get really busy around here. And for me, although I still work hard, and nobody's ever going to tell you that this business isn't hard work, it's just that it's less time. You don't have to work as much, many hours, and I can fit it where it fits for me. And so that's usually when the kids go to school and I get a cup of coffee and I sit down, and I'm the one girl that loves Mondays because I get to just organize my week and look at my schedule and, decide who I'm going to reach out to and who I'm going to work with this week, and, plan my events and make flyers. Like, honestly, it is a dream job. So if any of you are on this call wondering, could I ever be a national marketing director? Yes, NMD is doable for everybody. There's no one personality type that can get to this position. There are 10 of us in our team alone, and we've only been at it for 5 years, you guys. So you think about a CEO of a company, and it takes way more than 5 years for one person to get to the top of the company, and usually there's only room for one. So in our business, anybody can get to the top level, and it just requires consistent hard work and a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm really excited tonight to welcome to our call Justina, and she's going to share with us some of her tips and tricks and her story. And the reason I asked Justina to share on our call tonight is because, I'm NMD 100 Club, and I feel like my story is just like not as relevant to the people who are in the trenches, building their business right now, reaching out to brand new people every day or, frequently. And, as I said at the beginning of the call, sometimes I get lost a little bit in event planning, and I'll go to an event to speak at it and I'll forget to even invite my own events. Or my own guests. So I like having the new upcomers, the rising stars on the team share with us what's happening in their world. So to give you a picture of Justina's business, she is inches away from senior sales coordinator, and I mean inches. She has a very, very solid pay line, and she has been able to build this very quickly. She's also a very good recruiter, which means that she's got lots of frontline distributors, which is definitely contributing to her getting to senior sales coordinator. And just as a little heads up for you guys who don't know, at SSC, this is the 3rd level from the top. It is our first leadership position. So this is where she's just on the doorstep of it. You get a Christmas bonus every year of $250, and you get a business expense account that's built or meant to be to you to build your business with. So that's to take people out for lunch, to buy wine or snacks for an event, to attend events, and you get this business expense account monthly as long as you keep your business active. And so I'm really excited, Justina, that you're almost to SSC. It's a huge deal. And I'm just going to honor you and welcome you to share your story with us on the call.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, I'm really nervous, but I'm just going to kind of dive right in here, guys. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Justina. I Plus for just barely over a year now. I started last October. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I got started in my story. And then Michelle asked me to just give you a few tips on how I've been staying motivated and how I'm recruiting. Okay, so I got notes, guys, because otherwise I tend to ramble and I get really sidetracked. um, so my story starts out when my son was almost a year old. And I'm sure many other moms out there can relate to this, but that feeling of panic set in when my maternity leave was coming to an end. I was by no means ready to put him in daycare and go back to a full-time job. And so I was scrambling, trying to think of anything I could do from home to try to make a little bit of extra money because I did not want to go back to work. Um, so my husband and I sat down, we went through our finances with a fine-tooth comb and decided I was going to be okay to stay home for a little while at least. So I put in my notice at the bank where I'd worked the past 9 years, and I gave up my full-time position there. Then fast forward a few months down the road, and that recession hit Alberta, and my husband, he contracts. So the work calls just stop coming in when there's no work, and there's no EI because he's not employed, he's self-employed. So I was starting to have to face that reality again. I knew I was going to end up having to go back to work, and I was devastated. I didn't want to go back to work. And so I started trying all these different things. I was just going to make money from home. I was determined to do something. So I started painting furniture, which was really short-lived because with a toddler at home, I think I painted one piece of furniture in like 2 weeks. So I realized pretty quickly I wasn't going to make any money at that. I tried a few other little things like making soap and random things like that, and it was pretty short-lived before I turned to home-based businesses. At the time, I actually had a bit of a bad perception of home-based businesses. I'd been spammed a few too many times, I think, by some of my friends and some of my friends' friends. And I wasn't really educated in home-based businesses. I thought that it was just kind of a thing that did on the side as a hobby. I thought maybe I could make a couple $100 a month at it though. So I thought it was worth a try. I'm a bit of a researcher. So when I get into anything, I really like to, dive in and start digging around before I get into anything. So I started looking through different marketing plans of home-based businesses, and I kept coming back to Juice Plus. I had an acquaintance, Jessica, that was sharing her heart on social media, and I knew that she was doing okay with it. And so I just kept coming back to it. She'd invited me to a few parties and stuff over probably, I'd say like a year and a half, and I just kind of had blown them off, and I'd never really even read into any of the posts really. But of course, then I started snooping back through her wall and looking into things. And I just finally got up the courage and just out of the blue one night, I'm sure she had no idea it was coming, but I messaged her and just invited her to come over to my house and share a bit with me. So I'm sure she was probably like, who is this girl just, messaging me out of the blue, inviting me over to her house. But she did. She came over and she just started sharing with me a little bit about Juice Plus. And it was actually when she brought up the NMD benefits that really were like the eye opener for me. I was like, what? Like, you can get benefits doing this? And that was huge for me because giving up my position at the bank, we now had no benefits because contracting, my husband doesn't have any. So I really thought to myself, wow, like that would be amazing if I could do that for my family and get those benefits. So I actually, with a bit of hesitation still at the time, I signed up for the product and the business at the same time. The product really made sense to me, and I really wanted to try it anyway. And I thought, my family could really use some extra fruits and vegetables anyway. And, if this turns out like the furniture thing, I've only wasted $50 in a little bit of time. So I, over the next few months, I started really, really slowly. And it was probably to the dismay of Jess, because I'm sure she was probably excited and was like, yay, a new distributor. And I ordered my product and I just kind of sat there on it. But I really wanted to try the product before I, started sharing with my friends, because I didn't want to, sell them on something that I hadn't even tried myself yet. So I, started on the product, and then I started right away noticing some energy. So I was like, okay, well, that's a bonus. And so I just kind of, gradually started just sharing a little bit with my close friends. Like, yeah, I'm taking it. It's giving me a little bit of energy. And then it was about a month in where I actually all of a sudden started really noticing huge changes with my skin. I'd struggled with my skin and acne for years since I was a teenager, and just kind of assumed that was just how my skin was, and just kind of thought remember messaging Jess and being like, whoa, like I have to show you this picture. Like my skin is having these huge benefits. And that was really the turning point for me when I started really sharing more. And so by December, I decided to make a little push for VF, and I did my first Facebook party, and that was about 2 months into the business. And I got 2 VF on the 60-day 2,000 point window. So I missed the bonus, but I didn't even care because I was so excited, because by this point I'd been researching my butt off, because of course I just can't but research everything. So I had probably watched like 40 of Michelle's videos on the Team Synergy page. And I was really excited because I knew what VF meant, and I knew that that was a really good starting place. So then in January, I started kind of just pushing a little harder and getting more excited about the business. And I actually booked my ticket to go to Banff Beaver's Tail. And I had told Jess when I started, I was never going to any events. And so that was big for me, because I was like, oh gosh, I told her I wasn't going to, and now here I am showing up at Banff. But I got there and I was so blown away. We heard from Dr. Du Bois, and we heard from Jeff Roberti. And if you've never heard Jeff Roberti speak, like your mind is like blown after you hear him speak, because he's such an amazing speaker. And so I came away from that weekend so inspired, and I had gotten to meet, like some of the ladies from Team Synergy that I had only seen on video at this point. Were thinking they were celebrities. I actually remember, and I can't remember who it was now, but I remember talking to one of the other newbies there, and it was like her first event too. And she's like, oh my gosh, we're going to Michelle Ball's room for wine tonight. She's practically a celebrity. And so we were laughing to ourselves, thinking we were Michelle's little fangirls going to have wine with Michelle. So I really like lit a fire under my butt and got in gear and started pushing. I made my first vision board, which at the time, like I think my personal growth on this journey already has been so amazing, because a year ago I would have probably like scoffed at the idea of a vision board, and Jess just convinced me. It was just like, just try it and see what happens. And of course, as soon as I did up that vision board, things started. It was super exciting. And then sorry guys, just trying to check my notes here and see where I'm at. Okay, so I really wanted those NMD benefits, and when I got home from Banff, I went full force at it and made a plan for SC. And I actually hit SC at the end of April, and I was so excited. I didn't think it could get any more amazing than that bonus and all the recognition I was receiving for hitting SC. Then a couple days later, I got a phone call from head office, and I was completely speechless when they invited me to come to Montreal as a rising star on the all expenses paid leadership weekend. It still feels like completely surreal that weekend even happened. It was like a whirlwind of a weekend. It was so amazing. And we went to Montreal at the end of May. And so when I got back from Montreal, wrote out my vision board, and I wanted SSC by the end of June. So my momentum was there, and I thought that there was no way that I was going to miss out on hitting SSC at the end of June. But little did I know that summer starts to slow things down a little bit, and my momentum kind of tanked a bit. but I kept working and I kept pushing, even though nobody else was really following suit. And so I was a bit discouraged, of course, but I knew I couldn't give up. I had already come. And over the summer, it was a bit of a struggle. Every time we would take one step forward, but everybody just kept telling me to be patient. So we slump in the summer, apparently. And so I kept pushing, and one of them started killing it, and she completely re-inspired and kept me going. And then when September hit, everybody said it would, things took back off again. And SSC finally in my sights again. So I decided to start really pushing, and I was going to be SSC by the end. Unfortunately, I came this shy of it, but that's okay because this month we're pushing again. And I'm not giving up. You really can't give up on your goal. If I have any advice, it would be that, like, just push the date of your goal ahead a bit if you don't hit it, but don't give up on your goal. So here's a few of my little tips on how I kept going over the summer when it was difficult. So first off, you'll hear this over and over again, but it's because it's so important, and you have to find your why. And that's really going to be what's going to motivate you to keep going. And my why is really big because I really want this for my family. And I don't ever want to have to go back to, a 9-to-5 job. Like, my son's a little bit older now, but I still love being at home with him and our kids. I don't want to have to go through that, that potential of having to go back. So I'm going to keep pushing for my why. And then keep working on, if it's just for a couple minutes, just touching base. Like every day, then you're going to have that on your mind. And if I had completely stopped over the summer when things got slow, I'm sure my business would have completely. So keep working on it a little bit all the time. And find those people that are going to keep you motivated. So find that team that's going to help you to find your motivation. Growth during those slow times too. So listen to audiobooks, and I tried meditating for the first time, which was a whole new experience for me, and now I actually love time. And then even if it's like completely scary, because it seems like every time you say yes to an opportunity, then you get like this huge momentum growth in your business for some reason, even if it's like something unrelated to income producing activities. It just seems like it puts you in the right mindset to go for it again. And then recruiting. So here's just some of my tips on like how I've been recruiting my frontline. So consistency on social media is a huge one for me. I just share my excitement about the business as authentically as I can, and really like just keep it super persistent on social media, because you might feel like you're being annoying, but really like the same people aren't seeing all of your posts over and over again. Like only a small percentage of the people might see one post, and they might miss like 10 posts in a row, and then they'll see one that might catch their eye. And then I take a deep breath every once in a while, and I just reach out to someone I haven't chatted with in a long time. And if somebody I think might be great at the business, and if they say no, that's okay. But sometimes they say yes, and it's really exciting when they do. And then when customers come up for renewal, I always ask them if they're ready to start on the discount. And same with new customers. I always use Lauren Lengel's technique and ask them when they're ready and they've committed and they're saying they want to place an order. I always throw in the, do you want to pay full price, or would you like to get a discount on order? And that's how I've recruited all of my frontline team so far, is using all of those techniques. And so I guess the last little bit of things I would have to say is it's always too soon to quit, so don't give up. And if I can do this, you can do this. So that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justina. It's just so good to hear about all of your tips and tricks. And as you were sitting there sharing the things that you're doing on social media and sharing your why, it just always reminds me that the people that are growing in this business are teachable. And they are learning from the people who went before them, and they are doing what other people said worked. And so I just love that you're doing all the do. And those 40 videos that you watched are, obviously paying off in your business. I could have just put this on cruise control and you did my job for me tonight. So thank you for sharing, and congratulations on all your success. I love that you didn't give up, because I think everybody sees the highlight reel on the Team Synergy page. I think they see, all kinds of success for all kinds of people. And then they sit there and wonder, why not me? Why not me? And what they don't see is all the hard times that we've gone through. Even myself, when I was getting to NMD, I remember we were so far away and it was supposed to happen the next day. And I lost all hope. And I remember sitting there almost crying at the kitchen table, my kids' flights were booked. It was all set in stone that I would be going NMD. And I just had to just be like, hey, don't lose faith. Maybe it will happen. And by all magic of the universe, it did. But there were also other goals in my business that didn't happen, like 39 Club. I wanted to have 39 Club happen that conference, and it didn't. I had to readjust the deadline. So I love what you said about never change the goal, just adjust the date. And that's huge. So what I wanted to say to you guys as we close this call is Justina is a prime example of a distributor that I'm sure every single one of you on this call would love to have on your front line. Am I right? And so I want to encourage you to start thinking this way. Who do you know that has some sort of either health issue or a skin issue or something that they're struggling with that you know about, combined with a strong why? So with Justina, she really got motivated when she saw a change with her skin. And so that, combined with the fact that she had a big why for staying home with her little guy, made her an active distributor who would definitely go out of her comfort zone. Do you guys see the formula? So who do you know that's struggling with something that has a why? So either they want to stay home, they want to change their jobs, something in their life is giving them a why. And so the sad part is we don't always know these details because sometimes they're private. If you've got people in your world that you do know those two things about, please share the business with them. My gosh, they could be out there like Justina looking and making soap and painting tables in their garage, trying to manage a toddler, just wishing that somebody would share this business opportunity with them. The other thing that I wanted to say is, once again, the light has been shone on the power of events. And Justina was one that said, I'm not going, I'm never going to do events. And then she got to Banff, and what happened? She caught the vision. And not only did she catch the vision to push hard for SSC, but when it didn't happen, not once, but twice, she still had the deep desire within her heart to keep going. And that's the power of an event. An event will take a distributor who's sort of excited and turn them into a lifer. And I know there's people on this call tonight where you guys have been, in the business for a while, and you've thought you were going to be somewhere and you're not there yet, and you've gone through the disillusion and you've struggled before and all of those things, but you're here because you came to an event, because you saw the community, you caught the vibe of what we're doing, you see it for yourself, and you know that maybe the timing isn't right now, but you're not giving up, because the only way to fail at this business is to quit. And there's no point in quitting, you guys. It's $50. And I will never forget, one of our national marketing directors, Karine Chan, tried to quit like 4 times with Sandy. And she would phone her up and be like, hey, I need to have a coffee. I'm very serious this time. I'm quitting. And Sandy would always just love her through it, and just be like, okay, totally. If you want to quit, that's totally up to you, Sandy. But why would you? What's the risk? You're not having to pay anything monthly. And she would always remind her, and Karine would be like, I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm frustrated. I thought I was going to be here and I'm not. And that's the beauty of our team too, is that we just love each other through the tough times, and we're all here to lift each other up and raise each other up. So I hope you guys all took as much from Justina's story as I did, that it's not always going to be this straight line to success. It's just more like a big squiggly ball of yarn. And then you might get a little pop up of success, and then there's another squiggled ball of yarn. And so just know that it's normal, and know that nobody's journey to any level in this business was perfect. It takes dedication, it takes a thick skin, but it's worth it. It's so worth it, you guys, because this business can really literally give you anything that you want, whether that's time, whether that's freedom to do things with your family, go places, money to go places and do things with the people that matter to you. Maybe it's giving back, maybe it's being a bigger contributor in your church, but it doesn't matter. Whatever your goals are, this business can be that. So I encourage you to come out to a live event if you haven't yet. And if you're kind of in a slump, make sure you get out to one as soon as possible. We have a Raise Your Vibe coming up in Edmonton, November 22nd. If you haven't gotten tickets for that yet and you're in the area, oh gosh, please do. It's $150 minimum worth of value of personal development, meditation skills, at least 50 different tips and tricks on how to raise your vibration and attract abundance into your life. Then we've got the Camrose Regional coming up in January. That's going to be, I need my calendar to give you the exact date. It's the 13th of January, and that's going to be in Camrose. If you want to make a road trip, if you're not near Camrose, it's going to be a wonderful event. We've got Pammy and Ellie Shepley coming out, mother-daughter entrepreneurs. Pammy was actually a school teacher, and saw her sister get really successful with this business and finally gave in and joined her. She's now a 100 Club National Marketing Director as well, and her daughter Ellie is an NMD on her team. Okay, so those of us who are moms, how many moms would love to be working with our children and having them be NMDs on our team or NMDs above us, whichever way it goes? I mean, come on, guys, isn't that the dream? So those two girls are going to come out and be our speakers at our Camrose Regional. So get out to a live event, get a shot of inspiration. They always say, when you don't feel like you need the event, like life is good and your business is good and everything's awesome, then the event needs you. And when you don't feel like going to the event, it's probably because you need the event. So make sure that you guys get out to any live event, because it will give you what Justina has, which is the long-term vision and the stick-to-itness that you need for this business. So thank you again, Justina. I'm going to end the recording so everybody can give their thanks to you.